hottest hits.
Serving you hits and extra sides. This is the Drive Thru
On Radio 44.
4 minutes past 5. This is the Drive Thru with Hermina in for Ria. You're probably on your way home, and I'll be helping you get there with some great tunes. This hour, I'll be joined by Monisha Mahajan. She's an NRI expert who's going to be telling us all about banking in India and how to tackle any challenges you may face. Stay with Radio 44. That's coming up in this hour.
Radio 44.
Bacha playing for you at 10 minutes past 5 this Monday evening. Hope you're doing well. I'm joined in the studio by Monisha Mahajan. She's a legal, she calls herself an NRI expert. Welcome to Radio 44.
Thank you, Hermina.
So Monisha, start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, Hermina, I was here about a few months ago, but then I'll tell about myself a little more. Legal Help NRI is a niche law firm which looks after issues of non-resident Indians. I, being the owner, I've been working for non-resident Indians for the last 20 years, and it gives me immense pleasure to say that we've been successful in helping and assisting people successfully.
Okay, so today we're going to be discussing banking. So as a non-resident, an NRI, what are the rules and regulations related to opening, first of all, of a bank account in India?
Woo! Very interesting topic, Hermina. Well, banking today is not the same what it was 15 years or 20 years ago, or maybe 3 decades ago, when people would come into India, set up a savings account, and that was it. Today, with the new RBI guidelines, FEMA coming into picture, banking for NRIs has become a task. Setting up an account requires not only just a passport or an Aadhaar to set it up. Number one, people who are non-resident Indians have to be very careful in the type of account they are setting. A lot of people who've come to India, made an Aadhaar and set up a savings account. The problem is, and people feel that setting up a savings account can get them a better rate of interest, and that's the reason they've set up accounts which are savings account, Indian accounts. Whereas for all the people who are listening to this and are non-resident Indians, number one, your account has to be a non-resident rupee account. It cannot be a savings account. Now, for setting up an NRO account, earlier people would just come and give a passport or just go to the bank, and everything was done manually so an account could be set up. Today, to set up an account, you need a passport. And a non-resident Indian can only set up an account if the place of birth in his passport is India, or he has an OCI card. If he does not have a passport which says India as his place of birth, or does not have an OCI, he cannot set up an account. That is for sure.
Okay, what is an Aadhaar card? I hear it all the time. What exactly is it?
Well, Aadhaar is like an identification card, like a social security card we call in the US or other countries. It's like an identification card to say or classify you as an Indian citizen.
So can an NRI get one if they have an OCI?
Yes, they can get. They'll have to come to India to get that made. That's not made online.
Okay. And banking for NRIs is a real hassle today. So does one have to go, say, for example, I've set up an account there. Like you said, it can't be a savings account. It has to be a NRI rupee account. I've set it up. Do I need to go there to set it up, or can I do it remotely from here?
Now, Hermina, with Indian system, what is becoming the stringent requirements are signing of a lot of forms. A person who has an operated account for years, like now, I'll come to your first question first. Setting up an NRI account is possible. There are banks which do facilitate a non-face-to-face account. There are banks, but there are banks which do not facilitate that. Now, I think you have a Bank of India here in Nairobi which can set up an NRO account for you. Now, when you're talking about banking is not only about setting up an account here for transactions to happen. When I talk about banking, and I'm going to refer to banking, is for people who have money of their parents or grandparents lying in India. Now, this is where the complication is going to be.
Okay, so on that note, we'll take a short break, go into some music. But when we come back, we'll be discussing if you've got parents who have accounts in India and now you need to access them, maybe they're deceased now, what needs to be done. And Monisha Mahajan, the expert, will be letting us know. Stay with Radio 44. It's taken from the film Good News, playing for you on the world's first and only Bollywood audiovisual station, Radio 44, your music, your life. Hermina with you on the Drive Thru. And if you're just joining us, we're in a conversation with Monisha Mahajan, who's an NRI expert. We're discussing banking issues. So Monisha, parents who have bank accounts in India, and say they're incapacitated or they've passed on, how does one handle this, and what are the challenges that one would face?
Hermina, this is an issue which I deal with probably every day for a person who's living abroad. Most of the parents had left money back home in India, of course, because of good rate of interest at that point when they got it in India, and there were fixed deposits, money in banks lying in their savings account, which the children struggle to get it to their country of residence. Now today, with the stringent rules that I've been talking about, a person whose parents' money is lying abroad in India, the requirement is an order from the court. They have to go to the court, get a succession certificate. Now, let's say like the issue that the challenges that we face. Let's say it's a big family with 3 brothers, 2 sisters, parents didn't leave a will, and the children do not get along. In a scenario like that, it becomes a dispute. Now, in case the parents left a will, we have to get a probate from the court. And again, if the children don't get along, because the summons, the notices are given to all the legal heirs, it still becomes a matter of dispute. So now, for people who are listening to us today, and they keep feeling that whenever they go to India and they'll go to the bank, they'll show the documents they have and they'll get the money from the accounts, they'll go to the bank, they'll say, oh, we are the son or the daughter, we are 2 daughters or we are 1 son or whatever, submit the documents and get the money. No, it does not happen like that any longer. No matter what the amount is, even if it's 50,000 Indian rupees, 100,000 Indian rupees, a million, or whatever the amount is, and wherever the money is, they have to get an order from the court. It's either the succession certificate, a legal heir certificate. If it's a locker, you need a legal heir certificate, a letter of administration if there are properties along with it, or probate if there is a will. Now, for everybody who feels that, this is something that we'd never heard about, and, do we need to set up an account? Because we started this discussion on banking with setting up of accounts. Setting up of accounts will become essential for people who've got money of their parents in India, because there's no way that they can repatriate those funds to India, to their country, unless the money gets transferred first to their bank account. So for all the listeners, yes, of Indian origin, they need to have an OCI card, a PAN card to set up bank account.
So let me ask you a couple of questions. Would a will that has been made and drawn out in Kenya be recognized in India?
Well, again, yes, it can be recognized in India. Now, the will has different requirements. To get that probated, we'll have to get that probated in India. Even if it's probated here, you'll still need to get an order from the courts there. Now, for that, there would be 2 witnesses. I've seen most of the wills in Kenya. You have people who make wills, but it's signed by a lawyer or a secretary of a lawyer. You need both the witnesses to be present to give their affidavit in the courts there.
And then you mentioned that they cannot repatriate that money back to Kenya, for example. They have to open up an account there. Now, what if I am not born in India and I don't have an OCI?
If you're not born in India, you don't have an OCI, you will have to get an OCI to show somewhere of an Indian origin. Now, what you can do here is, now it becomes interesting, is now, let's say there is a Bank of India here. So you can set up an NRO account with them here. Now there, again, Harmeena, I'm not going to say that this is 100% what I'm saying is true, but then there are some banks, the national banks like the State Bank of India, a Bank of Baroda, a Punjab National Bank. Now let's say your grandmother left money and she has that money in a Punjab National Bank or a State Bank of India. And you go to the court, get an order from the court that the money needs to come to Harmeena. Now, the bank will want that the account is set up with the State Bank of India. Now again, this is specific to a town your bank account is held, so it becomes a little, I cannot commit to this, but there are some banks which get stuck on that. Mostly we've been successful in getting their money out for people. Now let's say somebody has an NRO account in a different country and they've set it up with an Indian bank, so the banks can transfer the money to their accounts directly.
So you seem to have a wealth of knowledge about this. That's why I guess you call yourself an NRI expert. And you're here in Kenya. And how can people reach you? Because if they have a matter and they have something that they need your advice about, how can they get in touch with you?
Harmeena, I'm here till the 23rd, but I will expect people to get in touch with me till the 22nd. They can get in touch with us through emails, which is kenya@legalhelpnri.com, or directly call me upon my local number, which is 1122099963. This is our local number. The other number is 4203893869.
So 02?
0203
Okay.
893869.
And if you have any questions for her or you want her contact details, you can hit me up on WhatsApp 0758-123-444. Monisha is not going anywhere, so stay with Radio 44. We've got more questions for her.
Radio 44.
It's Juggy, DJ Sean, and Rishi Rich playing for you on Radio 44. It's their brand new one. It's called Meri Banja, and it's on Radio 44. And if you've just joined us, thank you for keeping me company. Harmeena with you on the Drive Thru. And I'm joined in our studios by Monisha Mahajan. She's an NRI expert. We've been discussing banking in India. So, Monisha, how can non-resident Indians handle disputes or issues related to their bank accounts in India?
Harmeena, banking, when you say disputes related to banking, I can understand the dispute would be relating to legal heirs and dispute between legal heirs, legal representatives of the deceased estate. So let's say if there are two brothers who are fighting for money of their mother, deceased mother or father, and the money is parked in an account in Mumbai or Punjab for that matter, they have no choice but to go to the court. Now, the question everybody will have is that we're living in Kenya, and how can we manage the dispute from Kenya? It's not possible for us to be present on each date of hearing. A case has to be filed for which presence of a person is not required. Your presence, if at all, is required is only at the stage of evidence. You do not have to be present on each date of hearing. You do not have to personally supervise or personally represent yourself. A lawyer is good enough for representing in a case where the succession certificate is not disputed. But if it's disputed, yes, I would always recommend that the person must be present for evidence. If they cannot be, today during the COVID times, the courts have permitted cases where they're allowing evidence through video conferencing. So yes, we can use this opportunity and the system of communication through Zoom, through video conferencing, and you do not even have to be present in India for evidence most of the times. So yes, people who are living anywhere, whether be it Kenya, Australia, UK, anywhere, can file a case and have their dispute resolved without traveling to India.
Okay, so you have a lot of knowledge about banking. You've given us, it's been very informative, even for somebody like me, just to know what goes on if you ever find yourself in such a situation. So you're here for a few days. How can people get in touch with you if they have particular cases that need to be handled and they need advice from you?
Right, Harmeena, today we've only discussed banking, but our firm, like I introduced our firm as, we do everything and anything to do with India except immigration. So anybody who has any questions regarding property, inheritance, banking, real estate, or any such thing can contact me on my mobile, which is 1122099963. Or you can email us on Kenya at Legal Help NRI. I'm going to give you another number, which is 203893869.
Okay, and also, India is a vast state. You've got, vast country with multiple states. Do you handle matters to do with all the states, or are there only specific states that you can advise on?
Harmeena, we work on a pan-India basis. So be it Gujarat, Mumbai, MP, Delhi, any part of India we do. Of course, we don't do some parts of UP, but most of India we cover.
And South India is included as well?
South India, Bangalore, but Bangalore is one of our main areas of work. Hyderabad is one main area we work in.
Okay. And you're going to be back here on Thursday on the Morning Fix at 8 o'clock, and you're going to be discussing wills for Indian assets and probates. So just to divulge a little bit more information, what people can expect from that conversation on Thursday morning.
Hermina, you yourself asked me a question that if a person has made a will in Kenya, can he use the will in India or not? So I'm sure we're going to cover up that aspect as to how a will can be executed in India. Do you need to make a separate will for India or your Kenyan or global assets? And if yes, what is the process to do so?
Great. Thank you for your time, Monisha. This has been an eye-opener. And once again, Monisha Mahajan is going to be in Kenya for about 10 days. If you need her advice, any matters to do with stuff in India, NRI matters, get in touch with her. You can reach her on 020-389-3869. Once again, it's 020-389-3869. Also, get in touch, email her kenya@legalhelpnri.com, and she will be here on Thursday morning from 8 to 9 with Jeet discussing NRIs, wills and probates. So make sure you tune in for that. Thank you once again, Monisha.
Thank you, Hermina, and I hope this information was helpful to people who are listening to us. And in case they still have questions, they can always call us up and contact us. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you.